All right, guys, Monday Moffcast is back. Had a little hiatus there, but I'm back. We're going to be starting doing these shows again every Monday. We are not doing the female POV tonight for the second straight week. Spencer's been on the road. He's been traveling, so we don't have any ladies lined up, but we're hoping to be back next week. And then TC and I are going to be doing Navigating Modern Dating tomorrow night, talking about trad wives and JD Vance changing diapers and all this other nonsense that's going about. So if you haven't heard me talk about this before, great. If you have, you already kind of know my stance on this, but talking about this idea of the Sigma male. Now, if anybody's been watching me for any point of time ever, I am a proponent of the way of men. The way of men is a way of a gang. Shout out to Jack Donovan. Men needing a tribe. I have a couple of private communities that I run. One is my free group, the Academy, where guys that want to kind of chat with other dudes outside of just the good call on the phone. Thank you, Carson McDoyle. Guys that want to chat with each other outside of just the YouTube comments and they want to have more conversations behind the scenes. It's free. If you want to join that, it's just school.com/the-academy. And then if you do end up hitting the request to join button, just let me know, like send me a little DM there and I can approve you. I don't get notifications. The other one is the Brotherhood, which is if you guys have ever seen us do the trips and things like that, that's when we're going out, we're doing the hard shit, we're doing the hardcore meetups. And then I've got something that I'm getting ready to start new and launch here in Tampa, St. Pete, Dallas, and Miami this coming weekend, which is like a private dating event community for men. So I've been in the men's space, men's community, males self-improvement space for the last 5 years or so at this point. So, and if you guys know anything, probably the work of Jack Donovan, The Way of Men and Becoming a Barbarian has probably had the most profound impact on me in the way that I see the world and the way that I live my life. And so a couple of years ago, there became this sort of internet meme of the Sigma male. And basically the identifier of this archetype is, this is a guy that doesn't need validation from others. This is a guy who is quiet and reserved type. And really what a Sigma male, first of all, it has no basis in any sort of reality or any sort of scientific background because it's playing off of the term alpha and beta, which if you've also been around the space long enough, you should know and you should understand that alpha and beta are not demographics, they're mindsets. They're just placeholder terms. This idea, because everybody loves to say, oh, the term alpha and beta as a term that we use in science had to do with wolf packs, right? The wolf pack, the alpha dog, the alpha wolf leads the pack and the beta boys follow him or whatever that might be. And then that research was later, debunked. And I've said that just now. I guarantee somebody will write that in the comments, like, actually, alpha and beta, blah, 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 because people don't actually listen or pay attention. So I understand that in science, terms alpha and beta, especially as they are in term of hierarchical, like tribes, and the pack doesn't really hold water, which should mean that Sigma doesn't either. But I digress. The reason that the Sigma thing is super nonsensical is because, and the reason it should give people pause and the reason that people should just discard it right away is because the examples people always use are fictional characters. They're like, yeah, a Sigma is like James Bond. A Sigma is like John Wick. A Sigma is like Patrick Bateman. A Sigma is like Tyler Durden from Fight Club. These are all fake characters that were conjured up and written by Hollywood screenwriters. And even if I granted you that these were real examples of real people, that argument still doesn't hold water because every single one of those characters in some way, shape, or form relies on other people. If you've seen Fight Club, the idea that Tyler Durden gets an entire group of men to do his bidding, Project Mayhem. John Wick has an entire network, maybe not an entire network, but he has the Assassin Hotel. Sorry if you haven't seen John Wick, spoilers. But he's got his former handlers. He's got the Assassin's Hotel that help him, that give him information. He's got other assassin allies. Who's the other one I mentioned? Patrick Bateman, right? I mean, at the same time, he still works with people. He still has people and associates that he deals with. James Bond has an entire team behind him. Batman has an entire team behind him, making his weaponry, making his gadgets, right? So really what I hope is that guys will just turn their brains on and reject this, because a guy who's alone, a lone wolf, dies early and dies quickly. There's nothing virtuous about going life alone. And this has even been driven home to me even more over the last couple of weeks. If you guys haven't seen the Navigating Modern Dating show that me and TC have done, I really, really implore you guys to tune in. You know, it's not just the same old red pill stuff. It's not, let's just talk about, you know, shit tests and soft next and what to do when she says this and what to do and do that. We really like going down these deeper rabbit holes where we're talking about the fundamental differences of men and women and what men should do and should not do, and how to really take back charge of your life and start living life on your own terms. And it's one of the things that I think men struggle with the most. Like, they're so worried about what their woman wants and they don't care much. They don't care as much about what they want. But we've thought about a long time about what we want the brotherhood to be. And we're really kind of turning a corner and having a turning point now in our group and in our community, right? So the brotherhood is not a networking group. This is not a group that you're going to come and learn how to flip houses for real estate. This is not a group where you're going to come and learn crypto. You might, if there's guys that are interested in that, but it's not the purpose and it's not what we're selling. It's when guys think about joining men's communities or joining networks, a lot of time they're focused on, okay, who can I meet that will hire me for a job? Or who can I meet that could become a client for me? Or who can I meet that can potentially introduce me to someone else who can then make me money and then get me clients? But what we're really trying to do is create a literal brotherhood, create a community of men where this guy is the kind of guy that I want to build a community and build sort of to use the term network around, but it goes deeper than just monetary. Really, it becomes, is this a man in my circle, somebody that I would trust around my woman, somebody that I would trust around my children, somebody that I could drop my daughters off at their house for a sleepover with his daughters, and I don't have to worry about if he's going to molest them, because that's a real problem. And if you guys don't believe me, you can look up the statistics. Sleepovers are a huge risk to children. Overnight sleepovers, it's just insane that people still do that. And it was like, oh, Moff, I grew up in the 90s. And here come, I know the boomers in the comments. Oh, I slept over at XYZ's house and blah, blah, blah. And everything turned out fine. The world that you all grew up in no longer exists. The world that you all grew up in is not now filled with 100 million illegals. The world that you all grew up in is not filled with a ton of weak soy, I'll use the term beta here, but weak men, weak, fat, soy latte drinking men who can't fight and can't protect your daughter or even your son if somebody wants to break in and do them harm. We live in an era where the weak man outnumbers the strong man by exponential figures. So that world is gone. We're trying to find men, and that's why we run these meetups. That's why I put them through hard shit. That's why we're going to go to Ocala National Forest and we're going to go to a private compound and we're going to train for 3 days. We're going to show guys how to literally clear rooms and secure rooms so they can get to their kids, get to their valuables, seek and destroy an enemy basically that's trying to break in and do them harm. We're going to put them through very physically demanding exercises because I want to see who quits when things get hard. I want to see who is going to do something hard and then signs up for something even harder next time, because somebody that will willingly and repeatedly throw themselves into the fire and throw themselves into hard things is somebody that I know that will be there when I need them, and that when the going gets tough, they will be there and they will stick around. I've worked with people who don't show up to meetups and don't show up in person. And then the minute I ask them for something or the minute they get challenged, they just fold and they just leave and they show how soft they are. It's no secret that the guys who are the most well-adjusted in my community and the guys that have the strongest bonds and the guys that I trust the most or the guys that repeatedly come to events and repeatedly come and do hard shit. And that's not just because I make a little bit of money off of it. My dream is to run a group where we just do this stuff for fun and we can do it all at cost. And that day is coming at some point soon. But we're now living in a world where you have to decide, like, who are your kids going to school with? Who are your kids being taught by? This idea when I was growing up about the public school system not being that big a deal, sure. Or this idea of homeschool when I was growing up was weird. If you were homeschooled, you were automatically branded as a weird kid. People just didn't kind of know what to do with you. Now it's making sort of a resurgence where I wouldn't dare put children in the public school system, and I'm a product of the public school system. So all of this idea of I'm a Sigma, I don't need to depend on people. I don't need, and it's always cope, right? It's I don't need others' validation. It's called a straw man, where you're just inserting your own argument so you can basically, you're inserting something I didn't say so you can argue against it. And when you can argue both sides of an argument, you always win. Guys would behoove themselves to put away this nonsensical notion of I'm a lone wolf. I understand the grind, right? And I think this is part of the problem with motivational content. It's, you know, there's a difference when somebody's like, hey, let's go out partying, let's go to the club, let's go out drinking, let's go chase women and do dumb things. And you're like, no, I'm going to work on my business, or no, I'm going to work out, I'm going to lift weights, or I'm going to do things that are productive, that are going to put money in my pocket and secure a future for myself and my future. That's not what I'm talking about. But when there are opportunities presented to you to make yourself better, and you're not doing it because really guys that don't show up to things are just scared. They're scared of being exposed. They're scared of being found out. They're scared that they're actually socially inept. And it's kind of this catch-22. Well, I don't want to show up to an event, or I don't want to show up and do hard things because I'm socially awkward and the guys won't like me. It's like, well, how do you think you're ever going to fix that? How do you think you're ever going to fix your social ineptitude if you don't put yourselves in situations where you're forced to fight through it? The only way to get better at anything in this life is to do that thing over and over. And you're going to suck at it for a long time, potentially, depending on how smart you are. I mean, if you're dumb, you're going to suck at something for a really long time. If you can't say, take this and apply it there, life's going to be really hard for you. But if you find a way to say, hey, somebody told me this thing, I'm learning this thing, and then I'm applying it, that's what actual learning is. And the faster you learn something, the more intelligent you are. It's why when people, you know, need 5, 6, 7, 8, 12, 24 tries at something, it's like, you should probably just give up because you're a dumbass. The only way you're going to fix this is if you show up to things. And if you show up, it's always better than not showing up. People are not going to mess with you. People are not going to talk to you if you don't show up to things. You show up, you give your best, you do the best you possibly can. You don't quit. Look, I'll be straight up, and I'm honest with you guys. Like, I don't say names, but these guys know who they are. And if they don't, hopefully they're listening. There have been guys that have shown up to my events and have completely shit the bed. And they're crying and complaining, maybe not literally crying, but they won't do the PT. You know, they won't listen to the instructors. They want to quit in the middle of a drill. They're crying and screaming and having a fit about this is too hard, or I can't plank for this long, or I can't do any more push-ups. That dude's out. Bye. Peace. See you later. Done. Don't want to be around you. It's the fastest way. People weed themselves out, right? That's kind of the way it should be. And it's the way you want to prune your circle is like, eventually people, you give enough rope, they're going to hang themselves. But especially the world that we live in now, you cannot afford not to have a network of people. You cannot afford to not have other men that are living the way that you want to live, and then surrounding yourself with them as much as humanly possible. You know, Eaton brought up a really great point. I'm going to have to clip that. TC brought up a really great point in one of our shows where we had this, it was me and him and a couple of other guys in the Algonquin trip last May, where we were kind of just running through the forest and we were exploring, and it kind of had this sort of neighborhood kid feel where we didn't have a care in the world, and we were just running around the island having a good time, you know, telling jokes and laughing and cutting up. And everybody hopefully has grew up with that sort of feeling where you just grabbed your bikes and you rode all day long until the sunset, and then your mom called you home for dinner, and you went gallivanting through the woods and you were exploring a different part of your town or city or wilderness or wherever you're from. And the difference between doing that as a kid and doing that now as an adult is that As a kid, you were just kind of friends with who was ever in your neighborhood. You were limited by your proximity. Now we're not limited by proximity at all. My best friends don't even live in this city, like in Tampa. One of them or two of them do. But for the most part, the guys that are in my inner circle live a plane ride away, or at least a multiple hour drive away. And that's okay, because we'd have the resources to be able to get to one another in a heartbeat if we should. Or we've even got plans as a group and as an inner circle to start moving to places where we can actually be around each other, where we can raise families around each other, where my sons can marry their daughters and their sons can marry my daughters, and all of this. And that's how you kind of build this. And we're going to help homeschool the kids and all. That's where this is eventually going. And people that sit here and just say, yeah, I don't need any of that, I'm a Sigma male, I just don't need it. I'll have my woman and my kids. It's like, or my wife will raise my children. We don't need to, we don't need the community aspect of it. And what happens when she gets sick? What happens when your wife like falls down and breaks a hip? What happens if she gets sick? When she doesn't have family around that can help take care of the kids? When you're off working or you're traveling because you're out doing things, you're not sitting at home playing Mr. Mom. What's going to happen? The people that you surround yourself with, the people that are your neighbors, are they insane, liberal, feminist, blue hair, nose pierced, fat idiots and retards? Or are they people that you have systematically and structurally put around you so that when you can defend yourself, when you need to defend yourself, and when you need to protect your kids, and when you want your kids to grow up well adjusted, you're putting them in front of other families that have been pre-vetted, and other men and other women that have been pre-vetted. And that's how you really, really build a community. This doesn't exist in the world that we live in anymore. And too many guys are like, oh, you're letting your social awkwardness and your fear of looking stupid doom your entire bloodline. Think about that for a second. Because you don't want to leave your little house and your little corner, if you've somehow stumble into a woman that lets you fuck her and put kids in her, you are dooming them for life, because you are going to raise them around whoever is next to you, whoever lives to the left or the right of you, whoever your neighbors are, whoever lives in your cul-de-sac or your apartment building or whatever it may be. And on the balance of probabilities, the people that are going to be around you, if you're not handpicking and you're not hand selecting them, they're going to be plugged in, dork, loser, fat, weak men with wives that run their show, with kids that don't listen to their authority and don't respect them. And then guess what? No matter how good of a father you are, no matter how virtuous you are, no matter how much you try to teach your kids the right things, no matter how much you try to insulate them from the bullshit of the world, same thing that goes from your woman. That's the biggest threat to your family, is the outside world, is the outside influence. It's social media. It's the people and the kids they're around at school that are just one-shotted by TikTok and these tablet kids. Obviously, I'm not a participator in the school system. I don't yet have kids that are, but I've spoken to people that have kids that are. I've spoken to teachers that are in the school systems, and they said the kids' attention spans are next to zero. They can't function without their iPads. They use it for all of their classes. I mean, they've got all of these screens. Pencil and paper is not really a thing anymore. And then they go home and it's more screens and it's more processed junk, and there's no time for play. Like, everything is just on a screen. So we're building the least well-adjusted generation this world has ever seen. This is the first generation that's actually gone backwards, I think, in the history of human civilization. This is the first generation that is less well-adjusted to deal with the realities of the world than the one previously. That's unheard of. We really are moving backwards as society. And because you are just a socially inept loser and you are so afraid of somebody thinking that you're weird, or you don't have the balls to go out there and learn how to get the shit kicked out of you by people, not literally, go learn how to fight. You don't have the balls to go out there and be looked at like you're a jack-off or you're a weirdo. Dude, I've done it. I know people that have done it. There's guys in my community, even myself. Like, I haven't always been such an extroverted guy. Everybody's socially awkward as a kid. There's so many rare people that are just naturally charismatic. It's something that almost everybody who is charismatic and who is a leader and who can command a room has had to learn by doing. I mean, a good example is a guy like Alex Hormozy. Go back and watch his original first couple of YouTube videos and then watch the stuff that he does now. It's because he's filmed thousands upon thousands of hours of content, same as me. I mean, you guys can go look at the stuff that I did in the very beginning. It's not on this channel, so it's going to be kind of hard to find. But I've sat in front of this computer and I've recorded hundreds of hours of content over the past 5 years at this point. And the only way that I've gotten better at it is to do it. And the only way you're going to be able to create a network and be around guys that want to be around you is to go and do it. The only way you're going to get better in the gym is to go to the gym. The only way you're going to get better at fighting and defending yourself is training and learning how to fight. The only way you're going to get smarter is continuing to try to learn new things. The only way you're going to grow is if you get out of this bullshit ass mindset of, I don't have anything to prove to anybody, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, like a fucking idiot. Like, gotta wake the fuck up, man, because you're going to get, like, you don't have a chance. If you are this guy who just thinks he's going to do everything on his own, you just don't have a chance. And don't have kids then. Really. Like, you probably shouldn't reproduce, because you're doing your future children a complete disservice by not choosing to go and put them around people that are going to help you raise them or that are going to be good influences on them. That's the death sentence, right? So if you want to pass along your bloodline, but you're not willing to do what it takes to ensure that they're going to be healthy, well-adjusted people, then what are you even doing here? So I understand the allure. I understand the appeal. I used to be like this, man. If you guys go to my Instagram, it's down here in the bottom. I can never know where to point. This is backwards. Before I started really using Instagram, I was like, Instagram is so gay. It's all performative. This is retarded. This is for fucking losers. Instagram is for fucking women. You know why I thought that? Because I didn't have very many friends. I didn't have very many followers, and I didn't have a life that was worth posting shit about. I didn't do anything. I got up, punched the clock, went to work, went home, watched TV, ate dinner, went out on the weekends, got drunk, partying, chasing ass. I didn't do anything noteworthy. Most men who it's so much cope, right? That's what you guys have to understand. We know so much about the world and the way civilizations have been built and the way societies, especially Western societies, have always moved forward. And it's the strength of the bonds of its men that is the indicator of how successful or how little or how badly or how successful a society is going to be or how badly it's going to do. Strong men who are leaders who band together against outside threats, against internal rot of feminism and bullshit ass ideals like trans and all this other insane psychopathic shit that 30 years ago would have gotten people landed in insane asylums. But we don't have that anymore because men have turned soft. Men have turned weak. Men have given up their agency and they are deferring to these women who are never satisfied. For what? So you can get a pity blowjob once a year for your anniversary or your birthday? What kind of life is that? And you're doing a disservice to your future children and their future children. It's like a lot of guys just don't deserve to reproduce. Like, you guys are the guys that died in World War I like virgins. You guys are the guys on the beaches in Normandy that are 18 years old that just died in the World War I or in World War II. You guys are the ones that just didn't make it. You guys have always died off. Right? No disrespect to the soldiers. But what I'm saying is there's always been a group of men who have died young and sexless and died virgins and have not had their genes passed along. And we don't have that as a reality anymore. So now you have all of these men that somehow made it through the gene pool and like sneaky fuckered their way into modern society and that are allowing it to rot from the inside out. And so if you're a guy with any sense whatsoever, any sort of ideal, masculine, virtuous, any leadership mindset you might have, it's imperative that you take action and apply it so that, or you're just a bullshitter, honestly, because there's so many LARPers in this space. There's so many bullshitters out there. There's so many guys that are sitting here saying, yeah, like men need to do this, men need to do that. And it's like, you're not playing the part and you're not living your life in that way whatsoever. You're just a bullshitter. You guys will watch the content and you'll be like, oh yeah, like I totally agree. And then you won't align yourself with other strong, virtuous men, or you won't get strong yourself. I'm sitting here saying, like, if you're fat, you need to get in shape. If you can't fight, you need to learn how to defend yourself. If you need to be able to impose your will. If you don't know how women work and you're a doormat that gets run over by them, then you need to learn how they work so you can claim your power back, so you can actually find a woman that loves you and wants to have your children. You can agree with me all day, but if you're not actually willing to apply it, then like, what the fuck are you even doing here? Go watch some other bullshit. Stop watching the motivational content, because you're just never going to be that guy. Go watch bullshit. Go watch something else, right? Like, go watch mukbangs or some shit, or go watch fucking, I don't care. Like, go watch something else, but this isn't for you. It's like it's one of the worst parts about being in this space is that everybody wants to watch from the sidelines, but nobody actually wants to get into the arena. And then the people that watch from the sidelines have the fucking balls to criticize the guys that are actually in the arena doing things. It's the most ass backward shit of all time. And like, it's always existed. And I don't expect anybody that claims himself to be a Sigma male lone wolf to really have their minds changed by this. But if you're a guy that maybe is like, you know what, like, this motherfucker is right. I've been hiding. I've been comfortable. I'm afraid to put myself out there. I'm afraid to, go out there because I'm afraid of what people will think of me or what people will say about me and this sort of thing. And I'll tell you, man, I've been there. I was there for a long time. You guys don't know me back when I was in my early 20s. You guys don't know me when I was a teenager. I struggled making friends and keeping friends because I was so afraid to engage with people. I was so afraid that they might think I'm a stupid or a loser, or that they wouldn't want me around, that I didn't engage with them. And then guess what happened? They thought I was just this standoffish dickhead who was socially fucking awkward, who they couldn't have a conversation with. And anytime somebody would engage me, I would want to end the conversation so fast, because it's like, the longer I'm in this conversation, the longer I stand a chance of saying something fucking stupid. The longer I'm talking to this person, the higher chance that they're going to realize that I'm a fucking loser and that I have no real value to offer and that I actually suck. So I'm going to try to get out of this conversation. I'm going to kind of reject them before they have a chance to reject me. I didn't think about that consciously, but I lived my life in that way for a long time, and that kept me from building really good, solid friendships and relationships in my early years, my adolescence, and especially in my early 20s. And it wasn't until like a real epiphany that I had on our Algonquin trip last year, I guess it was 2 years ago almost, that it really changed my entire way of thinking. And that's why I'm so gung-ho on these events, and so gung-ho, especially on the Algonquin trip that we're getting ready to do. And there's spots open for it, guys. And we've got a couple guys already signed up, and we've got spots for extra dudes. If you're not following me on Instagram, you should. If you're not following the Brotherhood page on Instagram, you should, because ads are going to start running, and we're going to start taking applicants from guys that are not in the community and seeing if they're a good fit. And it could be exactly what you need. We're looking for guys that need to break out of that shell of social awkwardness and social shame and get out and find their fucking balls. We're looking for men who are otherwise successful but have grown complacent and comfortable and need to get shaken out of that and do a hard reset in the wilderness and do some hard shit with some cool guys. So if that sounds like you should definitely hit me up and let me know. As we start to kind of wrap up here, it's just, you guys have two choices. You can try to overcome these social shames and these barriers and just this nonsense and start living a life as your authentic self. And look, I'm not saying just be yourself. I'm not saying just be the same old dude and then just go start talking to people, but learn, if there's people you want to be around and there are people you want to align yourselves with, then you need to start implementing the things that they do. You need to start looking like them and acting like them and being like them. If you want to be around successful people, then you need to start learning what successful people do. If you want to be around strong, virtuous, masculine men that are leaders and protectors, providers, and guiders, then you need to be around them and you need to start embodying those things. Just because you're in the same room as them doesn't mean they give you the fucking time of day. Just because you're in a community of other high-powered and high status and high-purpose men doesn't mean you are one if you're not willing to do the things that they are to be high status, high purpose, and high agency. That's really the only thing that you can do. So your choice is to get involved or just stay where you're at. And if you like where you're at, then that's all fine, well, and good, man. But I implore you guys to challenge yourselves. I really challenge you guys and implore you to look in the mirror and say, am I living the exact life that I want to live? Am I really being the person that I want to be? And is the life that I've set up for myself going to be a positive or a negative? Is it going to be a benefit or a detriment to my future bloodline, to my future children, to my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, etc.? Is the way that I'm living my life going to be something that other men that I want to be around, are they going to, or do they look at me and do they think that I'm full of shit, or do they think this is some guy that we might want to have in our ranks? And you can think this stuff is cringy. You can think, I don't need anybody. And Moff, you're just grifting. You want people to join your community. Sure, man, I'd love to have guys join the community. It's not the end all be all. And there's a screening process. We don't take just anybody. Guys that want to join the group, they have to come on a trip first. They don't just get to walk through the door. You've got to come on a trip because we want to see what you're made of. We want to see if you can handle going into Algonquin for 3 or 4 days without your phone. We want to see if you can come to the MMA meetup down here in Tampa and train twice a day for an entire weekend and not give up. We want to see if you've got the balls to learn how to shoot and fire a weapon and clear rooms and use teamwork and boost your guys up when they need help. And we're trying to see all of that. Because guys that will continuously do that are the ones that we want to be around. And guys that actually practice what they preach are the guys that we want to build our lives and our future around. And it's what's going to help us ensure a healthy, successful bloodline. I mean, just an hour or two ago, there was a dude that I've known. We've lost touch. We're in another sort of community with another guy in the space. And he just found out that a buddy of his for the last 5 years, a guy that's in this space, red pill, manosphere, whatever the fuck you want to call it, is in a relationship and has been in a long-term relationship and lives with a woman who is a formerly OnlyFans girl / porn star. And not a girl that just takes her clothes off on camera or takes like bikini and lingerie pictures. We're talking like full-on dirty fetish shit. And the guy was like, oh, I got to tell my buddy about this. I saw his girlfriend on this site and it's all blacked out and, the names have been changed and I had to really go down this rabbit hole to find it. And he broke the news to his friend and his friend's like, yeah, I knew all about that. She told me on like the second or third date. And now the guy has to make the unfortunate call of cutting that friendship off. He's like, this is a guy that's worked on himself. This is a guy that's gone through all of the BS, that has tried to do the best they can, who's learned all this, says all the right things about, I don't take women seriously, do X, Y, Z. And he's sitting here dating a woman that used to get DP'd on camera. And of course, it's like, well, I did it to pay, I had to survive. I had 2 kids to take care of. See it all the time, man. So it's just, that's kind of the reality. There are so few guys out there. And if you're not properly vetting them, and if you're not properly doing things with them, finding time to train with them and do hard things with them and just see how they are and spend time around them when they're around their chicks, spend time around them when they're around their kids. You do trips and do things where you can see how they interact with their inner circle and their people. Because if he's getting his, he can say all he wants to you, behind a screen. He can say, oh, yeah, like, me and my wife, I run my wife's show, or like my girl just worships the ground I walk on. And then you go and see him and visit him in real life, and she's browbeating him and calling him a piece of shit, and she's acting all disrespectful and out of pocket. It's like, dude, what the fuck? That's one of the quickest and most surefire ways for me to know that I would never deal with another man like that is if his wife runs his show, if he's the happy wife, happy life guy, if she is not taking care of him and catering to him and he is placating her and putting her up on the pedestal, or his kids don't respect him. I just can't be around you because I would never let a woman that I'm in a relationship with ever do that with me. And I'm certainly not going to bring her around an environment where that's happening. Like I said, outside influences, man, are poison. I'm certainly not going to bring my kids around kids that are disrespectful to their parents. I'm certainly not going to put my people in an environment where they're going to be, that's really interesting. Like, no, we just don't do that. So this Sigma lone wolf shit, you got to ditch this mindset, man. And it's like, I know it's going to be hard for a lot of you guys. I know it's going to be really difficult. You want to listen to like the grind set, Sigma male grind set, grind on your own. Don't tell everybody what you're doing. Disappear for 6 months and go. You disappear for 6 months. No one gives a shit. No one cares. You're forgotten. Then you pop up one day. It's like, dude, where you been? Like, and now you're going to ask us favors. You disappeared for 6 months. And then now you're popping up and you're expecting us to give you the time of day. Where were you when we needed to call you? Where were you when we were checking in on you? You were on your Sigma male grind set? Yeah, go fuck yourself. Why don't you go back to that? This is not a pitch for my community. It's not a pitch for any of my groups. Doesn't have to be mine. Find one of your own. But I'm telling you, the vast majority of guys that are out there, if you guys want to be around other strong, virtuous leadership, like leaders, masculine men, you're just not going to find them by chance on your next door neighbor. You might find successful guys. You might find dudes with money. You might find guys that are good in business and they can put you in the right rooms and have you introduced to other people and you can rub shoulders with highly successful men. But the likelihood that they're going to be dudes that are also going to run their household the right way and they're not going to be browbeaten by their women is so infinitesimally small. It's crazy. It's the reason why programs like EO, like Entrepreneurs Organization, guys that are like me, guys that are running around and they don't want to be around it because these guys are all, yeah, man, they've been doing great in business, but they have to, can't go out tonight or can't do this or I can't fly to whatsoever to meet this guy for a business deal because I promised the wife we'd go to Home Depot and pick out socket covers. Promised we would go, promise I'd go help her shop for dog collars for her little Shih Tzu. Can't be around people like that, man. So I'm telling you, if you guys want to talk to people like us, if you want to be around us, it doesn't cost you anything. Get in the academy. I'm going to put it across the line right here. Let's see if I can figure this out. My banners. It's just right there. School.com/the academy. Get in there for free. Jump in. Start having some of these conversations. If you want to get out and meet guys, if you actually want to do hard shit, you want to find men, they're going to do the hard things and they're going to tell you to do the hard things and be alongside you doing the hard things. And you're looking to build a future and you're just looking to be around those guys that you can trust in and call when the shit hits the fan. It's a great place to do it, man. But I'm going to wrap up there. I'm not going to do like I said, we don't have the female POV tonight. I'm going to be on Cardone Debates, I believe the channel is called. Cardone Debates tomorrow night with Dr. Orion Taraban. He and I are going to do it. And there's going to be some other folks there. So I believe that's going to be 5 p.m. Eastern. So, go subscribe to that channel so you don't miss it. I'll probably post it on my Instagram when it's live as well. I'll drop it in the community tab here on my channel as well. Then tomorrow night, we're going to do Navigating Modern Dating, me and TC. And if you guys want to, and we want to bring on guests and that kind of stuff too. So if you guys have people that maybe you want to interview or you want us to interview, I wanted TC to do a one-on-one with that sort of TradCon influencer on Twitter, Lila Rose, but he's like, I'd rather gouge out my fucking eyeballs. So thumbs up on this video if you want to see him go toe-to-toe with the TradCon, Christian woman. But yeah, that's about it, man. And again, like real quick, I was in Vegas this past week with Rolo, Michael Sartain, and Spencer. Unfortunately, the episode of Access Vegas got taken down off YouTube. We were using and going over a clip from SNL, and they copyrighted it. So it's off there. But super gracious guys. Couldn't have been more cool to meet them. I hope we get out there and do another episode soon. If you want to see them back on TFPOV, let us know. We'd love to have them. And I was really thinking about going to Rolo's event down in Miami in the middle of May, but it's going to be when we're doing our Algonquin trip. So make sure you subscribe to our channel. We're about 855 subscribers here. Only need 1,000 to get monetized. So we really appreciate this. Really appreciate the support. If you guys don't mind subscribing to the channel, if you haven't already, like this video, share with people that might need to see it. Think about it, ponder it, look yourself in the mirror and have that kind of conversation with yourself. And just be willing to be honest. There's nobody else around you watching. There's no phantom audience out there that's going to cringe at you or laugh at you. It's just you, man. Like nobody else out there is watching what you're doing. Don't be afraid to go have that honest conversation with yourself and go into that conscious mind and really, really, really ask yourself if you are living your life in the way that you really want. And if you are not, take steps to change it. That's all from you guys. We'll see you on the next one. Appreciate you being here. Talk soon.